Your team just spent 45 minutes in a meeting that could have been an email. Then someone spent another hour writing up the notes. Then those notes sat in a Google Doc that nobody read. Meanwhile, you're paying for ChatGPT Plus and using it to write the occasional LinkedIn post. I'm about to show you how to turn Canvas into your team's actual operating system, not in some theoretical productivity guru way, but the exact workflows we use to run briefs, SOPs, content pipelines, and meeting notes through a single AI workspace. And look, I know what you're thinking. Great, another AI tool video promising to revolutionize my workflow. But here's what's different about Canvas that nobody's really talking about yet. Canvas launched October 3rd, 2024, and most people treated it like a fancy text editor. Cool, ChatGPT has a sidebar now. Whatever. But they completely missed the fundamental shift in how this thing works. In regular ChatGPT, your outputs disappear into the chat history abyss. You scroll up, you lose context, you're constantly copy-pasting between windows. Canvas maintains document persistence across your entire conversation. That sounds technical, but here's what it actually means. You can build something, walk away, come back, and iterate on the same living document without starting over. For a solo creator, that's nice. For a small team, that changes everything. Now, before we dive into the 4 specific workflows, briefs, SOPs, content, and meeting notes, let me give you the uncomfortable truth about why most small teams fail at AI adoption. McKinsey found that 73% of workers report wasting time searching for documents and recreating content that already exists somewhere. 73%. That means 3 out of every 4 people on your team are rebuilding wheels that have already been built. And here's the kicker. Adding AI to a broken system just creates a faster broken system. You're not saving time. You're generating more stuff that gets lost in the chaos. Canvas isn't magic, but it does solve one critical problem. It gives AI output a home, a persistent place where work lives, evolves, and can actually be found again. All right, let's get into the first workflow. Workflow number 1, project briefs. Every small team has the same problem with briefs. Either they're too detailed and nobody reads them, or they're too vague and everyone interprets them differently. Then you end up in 3 rounds of revision because the deliverable didn't match what was in someone's head. Here's the Canvas approach that actually works. Step 1. Open Canvas and give it the messy version first. I literally dump everything into the chat. The half-formed idea, the constraints, the random thoughts, what success looks like in my head. No formatting, just brain dump. Then I say something like, turn this into a structured project brief with sections for objective, background context, deliverables, timeline, and success metrics. Keep it under 500 words. Canvas opens the document panel and generates the structure. But here's where the magic happens for teams. I can now highlight just the deliverable section and say, make this more specific, include file formats and word counts. That targeted editing? Game changer. In regular ChatGPT, you'd have to regenerate the whole thing and hope it didn't mess up the parts you liked. Canvas lets you surgically improve sections while leaving the rest alone. Step 2. Use the built-in polish features. Canvas has these shortcuts on the right side. Adjust length, reading level, add polish. For briefs going to team members, I hit adjust reading level and bring it to a straightforward level. No jargon, no fluff, just what people need to know. Step 3. Copy and distribute. The formatting preserves when you paste into Google Docs or most word processors. No more spending 20 minutes fixing bullet points that got mangled in transfer. Now here's the workflow hack that saves us probably 2 hours a week. We keep a brief template conversation in Canvas. Anytime someone needs to kick off a new project, they duplicate the conversation, update the variables, and generate a fresh brief using the same structure. Consistency without rigidity. The AI adapts the template to the specific project while maintaining the format your team already knows how to read. Quick reality check though. Canvas doesn't support real-time multi-user collaboration yet. This isn't Google Docs, where 3 people can edit simultaneously. It's one person working with AI at a time. So your workflow needs a handoff system. What we do: Person A creates the brief in Canvas, copies it to a shared doc. Person B reviews and flags changes. Person A goes back to Canvas to iterate. It's an extra step, but the Canvas editing is so much faster that we still come out ahead. Let's move to workflow number 2. Standard operating procedures. SOPs. The documents every team knows they should have and nobody wants to write. Here's a stat that should wake you up. SOPs that are regularly updated reduce employee error rates by up to 40%. 40% fewer mistakes just from having clear documentation. But most teams don't update their SOPs because updating them is painful. Canvas makes SOP maintenance almost enjoyable, at least tolerable. The traditional SOP problem is that they're either written once and forgotten, or they require so much maintenance that whoever wrote them burns out and stops updating. Here's the Canvas approach. First, record yourself doing the process. I'm talking Loom video, voice memo on your phone, whatever. Don't write anything. Just talk through what you do step by step. Then dump that transcript into Canvas with this prompt. Convert this process explanation into a formal SOP with numbered steps. Include a purpose section, a scope section describing who this applies to, step-by-step instructions, and a troubleshooting section for common issues. Format for easy scanning with bold headers. Canvas gives you a clean first draft in about 90 seconds. Now, and this is crucial, you're going to need to review it. AI doesn't know your edge cases. It doesn't know that step 4 sometimes fails when the client is in a different time zone. You need to add that. But here's where Canvas shines. You highlight the step that needs more detail, add your context, and ask for expansion. Expand step 4 to include the time zone consideration and add a sub-step for verification. The document updates. The rest stays intact. Now here's the system that keeps SOPs alive instead of becoming digital fossils. Every time someone on the team encounters a friction point with a process, they drop a note in a shared channel. Once a month, we pull those notes and do an SOP refresh session in Canvas. We paste the existing SOP into Canvas, paste the feedback notes, and say, update this SOP to address the following issues without changing the sections that are working well. The AI incorporates the changes, suggests where procedures might be unclear, and the SOP actually evolves with your team. Living documentation instead of archaeology. Bonus tip: use the Just Reading Level feature to create 2 versions of critical SOPs. One detailed version for training new team members. One condensed version for quick reference. Same Canvas conversation, just export both versions. Alright, let's pause here for a second, because I need to address something. I keep seeing people online treating Canvas like it's just ChatGPT with a better text box. They're completely missing the mental model shift. Canvas isn't a chatbot that writes documents. It's a collaborative workspace where you and AI iterate together. The chat is for direction. The Canvas is for building. When you internalize that distinction, you stop using it wrong. Most people send one prompt, get one output, copy it, and leave. That's treating Canvas like a vending machine. The power is in the iteration. Write, review, highlight, refine, expand, contract, polish. That cycle, that's where the time savings compound. Okay, workflow 3. This one's my favorite. Content creation for small teams. If you're running a small business, you probably need content across multiple channels. Blog posts, social media, email newsletters, maybe video scripts like this one. And you probably don't have a dedicated content team. Canvas can function as your content operations hub. Here's the workflow we use for turning one piece of content into 5. Start with your core piece. Let's say it's a blog post about a lesson learned from a recent project. Write it directly in Canvas or paste in your draft. Use the chat to refine. Tighten the introduction, add a specific example in paragraph 3. Make the conclusion more actionable. Once your core content is solid, here's where Canvas really earns its keep. Same conversation, same document visible. You say, now extract 3 key insights from this blog post and write them as individual LinkedIn posts. Make each one self-contained, around 150 words, with a hook in the first line. The AI references the Canvas document you've been working on. It knows the full context. It pulls the best parts. Canvas opens a new document section with your 3 LinkedIn posts. Then, write a Twitter thread summarizing this blog post in 7 tweets. Make the first tweet a curiosity-driven hook. Then, write an email newsletter intro that teases this blog post and gives readers a reason to click through. Keep it under 100 words. You're now sitting on 5 pieces of content derived from one core idea, all in the same Canvas workspace, all maintaining consistent messaging because they're built from the same source. But wait, there's an even better trick for teams. Create a content repurposing template conversation in Canvas. Save the prompts I just described. Anytime someone on your team writes a core piece, they can run it through the same template and generate all derivative content in under 15 minutes. No more "we need social posts for this blog" becoming a 2-day project. The framework exists. The AI does the heavy lifting. Your team just reviews and schedules. Now, important caveat. The AI-generated content will need editing. Some of the LinkedIn posts will feel generic. Some tweets won't quite nail your voice. But you're starting at 70% instead of 0. That's the difference between content getting created and content dying in the someday pile. Let me show you workflow 4, and then I'll give you the integration system that ties all of this together. Meeting notes and action item tracking. Here's a painful statistic for you. Small teams of 2 to 10 people spend an average of 17.4 hours per week in meetings. That's Atlassian's data from 2024. 17 hours of meetings. And how many of those meetings produce clear action items that actually get done? I'd bet the answer is not enough. The meeting to action item pipeline is where most teams leak productivity. Someone takes notes. Those notes are messy. The action items are buried. Nobody reviews them before the next meeting. Repeat cycle of dysfunction. Canvas fixes this, but you need the right system. Here's what we do. Before the meeting, open Canvas. Create a simple agenda in the document with headers for each discussion topic. Under each header, leave space for notes. Add an action items section at the bottom. During the meeting, one person types raw notes directly into the Canvas chat, not the document. Just stream of consciousness what's being discussed. Messy is fine. Capture is the goal. Immediately after the meeting, and I mean immediately, don't wait. Paste those raw notes into the chat and say, organize these meeting notes under the agenda topics in the document. Extract all action items with owner names and deadlines. Put action items in a table format at the bottom. Canvas updates the document with structured notes and a clean action item table. Takes about 60 seconds. Now the magic. Highlight the action item section and say, review these action items. Flag any that are missing deadlines or owner names. Suggest deadlines for ambiguous items based on the meeting context. The AI catches the gaps humans miss. Send proposal to client becomes send proposal to client, owner, Marcus, deadline, Friday EOD. Final step. Copy the action item table and paste it into your project management tool. Whether that's Asana, a Notion, Trello, or even just a Slack channel, the formatting transfers cleanly enough to work. Now, I want to be honest about a limitation here. Canvas doesn't have direct integrations with project management tools yet. There's no export to Asana button. You're still copy-pasting. But the copy-paste takes 30 seconds versus the 10 minutes it would take to manually organize messy notes and extract action items. And here's the advanced move for recurring meetings. Keep a Canvas conversation for each recurring meeting series. Your weekly team sync, your monthly planning session, whatever. At the start of each meeting, paste last meeting's action items and say, generate an action item review section showing status check-ins for these items. Now your meeting starts with accountability. What got done? What didn't? The AI helps you structure the follow-up without you having to dig through old notes. All right, this is the part where everything connects. The integration layer. You now have 4 Canvas workflows: briefs, SOPs, content, and meeting notes. Individually, each one saves time. Together, they create a system. Here's how we structure it. We maintain a Canvas master index conversation. It's simple, just a document that lists our active Canvas conversations by category with brief descriptions and links to the source documents they feed into. Briefs section links to active project briefs, and notes, which Google Doc they live in once finalized. SOP section lists all standard operating procedures with last updated dates. Content section tracks pieces in development and their repurposing status. Meeting section organizes by meeting type with links to action item tracking. Is this perfect? No. Canvas doesn't have native folder organization or tagging. You're working within ChatGPT's conversation management, which is fine, not great. But this index approach means when someone asks, where's that brief for the client project, there's one place to check. When someone needs the latest version of the refund SOP, they can find it. And because Canvas maintains document persistence, those conversations are still there with full edit history in the chat. You can see how the document evolved, what decisions were made, why certain sections exist. That institutional memory is something most small teams never achieve. Now let me give you some rapid-fire tips before we wrap. Tip 1. Use Canvas's adjust length shortcut religiously. Teams overwrite everything. Hit shorter twice on almost any document and it gets better. Tip 2. The add emojis shortcut is actually useful for team-facing documents. It increases readability and people actually read things with visual breaks. Tip 3. When you're stuck on a document, highlight the problem section and just say what's wrong with this. Canvas will diagnose issues instead of just rewriting. Tip 4. Start critical documents with a context dump in the chat before opening Canvas. Give the AI everything: audience, goal, constraints, what you've tried before, why previous approaches failed. The more context in the chat, the better the Canvas output. Tip 5. Don't fight the AI structure on first drafts. Let it organize however it wants, then reshape. It's faster than trying to get the perfect structure on the first prompt. All right, here's where I want to leave you. Canvas is not going to fix a dysfunctional team. It's not going to magically create accountability or communication or trust. If your problem is that nobody does what they say they'll do, Canvas just means they won't do better documented things. But if your team's bottleneck is administrative drag, the briefs that take too long, the SOPs that don't exist, the content that never gets repurposed, the meeting notes that disappear, Canvas can remove genuine friction. The 4 workflows I showed you today, briefs, SOPs, content pipeline, meeting notes, took us about a month to really dial in. You'll need to adapt them to your team. Some won't fit your context. That's fine. Start with 1. Probably meeting notes. That's the fastest win. Get good at it. Then add another. Small teams that figure out how to use AI as a collaborative workspace, not just a question-answering machine, are going to have massive advantages over the next few years. The tools are here. The learning curve is real, but not steep. And if you want to go deeper on any of these specific workflows, I'm planning videos that break down each one in full detail with template prompts you can copy directly. Hit subscribe so you don't miss those. If you've made it this far, you're serious about actually implementing this stuff. Drop a comment telling me which workflow you're going to try first. I read all of them and I'll answer questions. Next video, I'm breaking down the exact prompts we use for turning rough meeting notes into polished client-ready summaries in under 5 minutes. It's the workflow that probably saves us the most time per week. I'll see you in that one.